afternoon, good morning, everyone. My name is Amit Kumar, and today I'm going to talk on what is software testing is all about, and I'll give a brief introduction about the software testing. So this is going to be our agenda for today: introduction, then introduction about software testing, where we'll talk about what is software testing, why should we do software testing, what are the various testing techniques. So this is just a part what I will be covering today, and then I'll walk you through the course curriculum content, like what all this particular curriculum will have. That is a very exhaustive course which we have put together, and then at the end we will have some questions answer session. You can stop me in between if you want to ask any questions. So let me give you a brief introduction about the company. We are KernelTraining Technologies Private Limited, focused on system storage, virtualization, and cloud computing. We provide top-class business consulting and information technology and communication services. It's a world-class corporate student online IT training center, and is the best choice for those looking for highly interactive and result-oriented training programs. We also customize IT training programs for small, medium, and large organizations, and depending on the client's requirement, we deliver the training programs. So this is one of the training programs apart from the various other trainings which we have. So let me tell something about myself. I'm Amit Kumar. I am working as a QA manager in a MNC company. Around 14 plus years of experience in software testing, which also includes internationalization and localization domain. So this is another thing which we will touch base upon in today's session, a little bit about that. Not many people know about internationalization and localization testing. Regarding certification, I am ISTQB certified, ITIL, and I have also done CSM, that is Certified Scrum Master Training from Scrum Alliance, and CSPO. Regarding my education, I am a master's in computer management and I hold an executive MBA degree. I've written a lot of white papers related to testing and have been invited as a panelist and guest speaker in multiple conferences. So I can give you the theoretical part of what the theory is all about testing, and I can also correlate what industry, when you get into the company, what kind of testing they do, what are the processes they have. So I have, I know both about the theoretical part and the practical part, so it will be a blend of everything which I will be sharing with you guys about the software testing. I have worked in a services organization, I have worked in a product-based organization also, so I can give you examples about how does testing happens in software in services company like Infosys, TCS, and how does it happens in a product-based company like Oracle, Google, all those companies. So let's get into the definition of software testing. Now, before I get into that, software testing can be done in on anything. Without testing, we don't release any product in the markets. Like for example, car. You must have a driven car also, right? So before any company rolls out a car in the market, they have their own test procedures, right? When they build a car, they put a car key and start the engine to see whether the engine is starting or not. They see whether the brakes are applying properly or not. They see whether the tires are properly aligned or not. A lot of things we do in our day-to-day life related to testing, and so is something called software testing, which we do for the software applications, software systems, and we all know that in these days the software is kind of so prevalent in our life like right from the smartphones to home automation to you drive your cars, everywhere we have software. So it becomes more important that we should do a proper testing before we release any application systems or products into the market, right? So let's see what software testing. So it's a process which is used to identify the correctness, completeness, and quality of the software application or a software system. It's done in order to find out a defect, errors, or bugs, in a software application, so that it can be fixed before it is released in the market. In layman's language, we can put it like it's an activity which is done to make sure that the system is defect free and it is doing what it is supposed to do. Okay, for example, now whenever you open any site called Facebook or Gmail, right? And what is the basic functions of a Gmail software, right? When you enter your username and password, you get into your inbox and you are able to see what mails have come. Okay, so when we say that that it should do what it is supposed to do, right? When you log in into your account, you should be able to log in into your account, not somebody else's account, right? So this, how do we ensure that the correct thing is happening? We ensure it by performing some kind of test on it, right? Another example I can give you, that before say you have a login page of Facebook, and you have to enter a username and a password. So you have two choices, right? You can enter a correct username and a correct password, and you can also enter a correct username but incorrect password, right? When you perform these two scenarios, what you are doing, you are testing the application. You are testing the application for the behavior, the correct behavior. So when you input a valid username and valid password, it should allow you to enter into the system. And when you are using any of the invalid things, it should not allow to enter into the system. And this is some kind of scenarios, the test cases which we execute to make sure that the application is performing the way it is supposed to perform. Any questions anybody has? Okay, so let's get into why software testing is so important. Now if we don't perform software testing, you can run into losses, and the losses could be financial losses, and even you can have a loss of people, right? These are some of the examples which I am going to quote, which has happened in the past, and these are the real things. Okay, that what are the what price we have to pay for a defected software or a defected application. In 1985, there is a machine called Therac 25. It's a machine which used to provide radiation therapy. Now, because of a software defect, okay, in this particular machine, it malfunctioned and it emitted lethal radiation to patient, due to which 3 people died and 3 got critically injured. And it is all because we have not done a proper testing of the machine, which has software application built into it. Another example, in 1994 April, there was a plane crash because of a software defect, which resulted into 264 people dying. Okay, so here we have a human loss also, right? Similarly, another example is in May 1996, due to a software defect in a major US bank, 823 customers' account was credited with USD $920 million, right? Though it's good for the people whom the money got credited, but again it's a loss to the bank, and it happened all because of a defect in their software. Another example, famous example is, there was a satellite launch which failed because of a defect in their application, which costed them $1.2 billion. Similarly, a well-known online book retailer went live for the first time. They haven't done proper testing, and when you used to order books, say you want to order 5 books and you input -5, a negative number, then this led to transactions of sum was refunded to the customer who purchased the book. Again, what you call a defect in the software application. Similarly, we have many examples because of software testing not done properly. We have human losses, we have money losses, and all other kinds of losses. Now the question is, what is it about these examples that make them so startling? Okay, right? I mean, is it something which fairly obvious was missed? Is it the feeling that expensive and important they were, the system were allowed to enter service before they are ready? So these are some of the questions which we come to our mind. Do you think that these systems were adequately tested? Right. So if you don't perform a thorough testing, okay, this will result into a lot of losses. It could be financial losses, it could be a human loss. Now this is for some people who wanted to get into the software testing domain. Okay, so just to give you some stats on this particular thing, the global testing market was worth USD $30 billion in FY financial year 2010. Okay, $30 billion industry it was. Now we are in 2015, and it is increasing day by day. It's not going down. Out of this, 65% is in-house and 35% is outsourced. So overall, if you are a global student or a global aspirant to get into the IT industry, you have an industry of $30 billion. Now, if you are in some countries where the testing is outsourced, like India, Malaysia, China, that if you are in those countries, then probably you have a share of 35%, and out of this 35%, okay, India alone accounts to 32% of the outsourced revenue, which is nothing but $3.2 billion USD, thus getting the position at the largest offshore destination. So be in any country, okay, if you are making your career in software testing, then you have a lot of market, to make a career on it. If you see this is a slide from NASSCOM. Now 20 to 30% of the development life cycle is spent on testing, and testing accounts for 20 to 25% of the total IT spend. So it's a lot. Like, for example, just to explain you this, okay, if a company is spending 100 rupees on IT, out of that 100 rupees, 20 to 25 rupees they are putting only on testing. So testing is so important for any company today, and this helps you taking a decision whether I should make my career in software testing or not. Any questions so far? Okay, now we will get into the fundamentals of software testing. As we all know that these days software application, mobile apps are part and parcel of our life, right from business applications like banking to the consumer product like cars. Most of us had bad experiences with this application which doesn't work the way it is supposed to work, and it leads to, when a particular thing doesn't work, it leads to lot of problems in your life. It could be loss of money, time, energy. You can have run into business reputation problems. It can cause injury, and even it can lead to death. Now if someone asks me like whether why should we perform testing, and the simplest answer to that would be that developers are not able to build a software which is free from defects. If the software development processes were so perfect that there is no defects were produced, in that case testing would not be necessary. But the mindset of a developer, okay, and the mindset of a testers are two different. I mean, they think in two different directions. When I'm writing a code, I will want my code to work, and I may not think in multiple directions, right? I will just say that, okay, depending on my knowledge, my expertise, I will do a particular coding in a particular way. For example, when I gave you example of that, if you the online bookstore where a person was entering a negative number, and instead of money debited from the customer, when you enter, it was getting back, the money was getting paid back to the customers. So had they been tested the negative scenarios, they could have avoided those situations, right? So that's why testing is very important. Now this is, I know a lot of people must have seen this images. Very interesting thing where where we have shown that what is the problem with software development these days. Okay, now if you look at the first image, okay, it shows the way customer has explained their requirements. So what he wanted a 3-layer across the branches, so that someone can sit and swing on that particular tree. Now see how, if you go to image 2, how a project leader who has gone to meet the customer understood the requirement. Okay, so he wanted 3. The customer wanted to have a 3, but he has put only 1, and looks how he understood it. Now, when that particular project leader or the person who has interacted with the customer comes back and he explains it to the analyst or the person who is designing the product or application based on the requirement, he designed in that way. Okay, so he cut the tree from this thing and then put the swing at in the middle. So this is at the design phase, right? Now, if you look at the next picture, image 4, this is how the programmer code. So you have different people to do different things. One is went to the customer to get the requirements, and you have a designer who designed, then you have a person who coded, right, who developed the program. Okay. And if you see the next picture, so how this shows that the 5th one at the top right corner, it shows how the business consultant described it. Okay, it's a kind of a sofa, put it on as a swing on a particular tree, right? Now if you look at the image 6, this one, this is about the project documentation. So you don't see anything out there. So there was no documentation done. if you have seen, whenever you bring any appliances or any kind of car or a fridge or a TV, you get a manual along with it which has a documentation about the particular product. So there was no documentation at all for this particular requirement of the customer. And actually, how, if you look at the next picture, this shows that how it was installed, how it was actually installed on a particular customer environment. And if you look at the next picture, this is how it was billed to him. Billed means the money which has been taken from the customer to build that particular software. And this image shows the kind of support we provide to the customer. So there is no support at all, right? Support in the sense, once you ship a product into the market, you have to provide support through call centers whenever a particular person, a customer, faces an issue with the software which you have built for them. And if you see this, the last, this is something which the customer really wanted. So it was a simple swing across a branch of tree, which is what a customer wanted. But if you see the difference between the first one, okay, the first one and the last one, this is how the customer explained it, and this is actually what he wanted. So the irony and the problem is, even the customer was not able to explain his requirement properly, okay, and after that all the problems kept on occurring, okay. So he couldn't explain. Actually, he wanted this, but he explained like this, and our project leader understood like this. Designer designed in this way, the coder wrote it this way, the business consultant who or you can say the sales or marketing team put it in this way. So it's all because all these I'm showing you to understand the problem of the software development, and that's why we need a testing, and testing is required in each and every phase of the software development life cycle, okay. Any questions you have at this point of time? So this is all which I explained just now, and it talks about the so as just I said, this picture may look funny, and it may even exaggerate a problem. However, the fact remains that that it is true, and that we all do work in such environment where we transfer information from one people to another people, and there are different people doing different jobs, and the communication doesn't happen properly, and there is a gap in between from what customer wanted to what is delivered to the customer at the end. So what do organization do about this? We cannot let go of delivering something which does not add value to him or her, right? Quality of the product or services that we offer is of utmost importance. Now let me take you through some of the principles of software testing. There are 7 principles of software testing. So before I get into that, if we have anyone who can speak up, Chandra, if you can unmute some of them, I need to ask a question from them. Basically, say for example, if I ask you that find out okay, I want to ask a question like you have a jug and you have a glass. or a tumbler, right? So you have to transfer water from jug to that particular tumbler or glass. Which are the ways in which you will transfer the water from one container to other container? Can anyone answer that question? Okay, so no. Okay, so let me, if you're not asking question, let me take you to that. So you can pour the water from the jug to glass directly, or another scenario could be you can put a hole in the jug and pour it into the glass. Okay, you can also think of taking a sponge, put it in the jug, and then squeeze it in the glass. And there were many scenarios like that. Okay? Take another example of transferring a file from one folder to another folder. You can have you can just say that, okay, I will copy from one folder and paste into the other folder. Okay, but you can also try some of the scenarios like, try to move the file when it is open. Okay, what kind of errors or message it gives you, right? You try to access, you try to copy paste a file for which you don't have an access, see how it behaves. Okay, you have another folder on a shared drive, and where the capacity is full, and then you try to copy and paste what kind of message it is giving you, you know and then you can try another scenario where you have a folder where a file with the same name is existing, and then see what kind of behavior it is showing you, whether it gives you a message saying that there is a file is existing, do you want to overwrite, or it just overrides without asking you any questions, right? So for one particular thing, you have to perform multiple things, right? There could be hundreds of scenarios which you can build to perform or to test one particular thing. Okay, another example, say for example you have 15 input fields to test. Okay, and each input fields have 5 possible values, right? Then the number of combination you have to test is 5 raised to 15, which is huge, and it is humanly impossible to test each and every scenario if you want to test. Okay, now if you want to test all the possible combination, the project execution's time and cost will be exponentially very high. Okay, hence one of the testing principles states that exhaustive testing is not possible. Okay, so we have a deadline to release a particular product into the market, right? But one of the, as I just gave you examples for a simple thing, you might end up into scenarios which is humongous, which is huge, which you may not be able to perform, which is humanly impossible to do, to run all the scenarios. So what we do in these situations? We have to do a optimal level of testing based on the risk assessment of the software application. So we have to do a risk assessment, right? Another thing we can do is we can automate. That is one way of that. But again, you may not have time to automate all the scenarios and run every day, right? So if you have like just now I give an example, 5 raised to 15 combinations, right? It will take a lot of time to do that. So what we do a risk-based testing, right? Now how do we determine the risk? You know, determining a risk is $1 million question here. Okay, but we can do that. If we think properly, we can do that. Let's do an exercise. Now, I am giving you three situations. Okay, three operations. You can tell me in which operation your application has, chances of failing quite often. Okay, so one scenario is you open an Excel file. Second scenario is open a PowerPoint file. Okay, and third scenario is opening 10 applications heavy on graphics at the same time. Right? I hope most of you have guessed that opening 10 applications heavy on the graphic at the same time is the one where my application has chances to fail more. Right? And you are right. I mean, your thinking is right. So this is the area where you can say that, okay, in this particular situation, my product will have more chances to fail. So I will do a testing in and around this particular scenario. Now there is another principle called defect clustering. Principles of software testing is it states that a small number of modules contains most of the defects detected. Just now, we see that, okay, Hello? Okay. Now I think you can hear me. Sorry for the interruption. We had some network issues in between. So I was talking about defect clustering. So as I said, even we have a problem with the defect clustering, which is nothing but you can find out where the most of the defect will find, right? Uh, Even this particular principle has its own problem, which we call it as the pesticide paradox. If you keep on executing the same test cases again and again, eventually the same test cases will no longer find you new bugs or defects. Okay, and this is called the pesticide paradox. Now we have to overcome this kind of paradox, right? So to come out of this pesticide paradox, we have to keep on updating our test cases regularly and keep on adding new test cases also. Okay. Now, some of you are very new to this concept called test cases. Test cases are nothing but a scenario. For example, say you have to log in into your Gmail account. One of the test cases would be enter username, correct username, enter correct password. This is one scenario. So this becomes your one test case. Enter correct username, enter wrong password. This becomes your second test case. Enter both username and password incorrect becomes third. Don't enter anything in username and password and click on login button becomes your fourth test case. So test cases are nothing but the way they are written in a particular format to find out whether the particular application is behaving in a way which it was supposed to behave. Okay. Now, but even doing all the above, you cannot claim that your software is defect free. Okay, so you followed all the 7 principles of it all testing, and you did your testing very well. You did all your hard work. But even after doing all the above, there are chances that there will be some issues which will be missed. Okay, and let me give you an examples. There was a live cast of Windows 98 where Bill Gates himself was present on CNN channel. Okay, it was into live casted, and when they tried to open Windows 98, it got crashed. Okay, so do you think that Microsoft has not tested their operating system before doing a public launch? No, they must have done it, right? So, but still, the testing principle says that testing shows presence of defects and it reduces the probability of undiscovered defects remaining in the software. But even if no defects are found, it is not a proof of correctness. Okay. So there may be some test cases which you will miss, some combination that might get missed. So you can recover, you can recover or you can uncover a lot of defects by performing software testing, but you cannot say that my product is 100% defect free. So if someone is telling that, okay, I'm shipping a 100% defect free product, that's a myth. You might have a situation where, okay, you covered 90% of the issues are or defects are uncovered, but not the 100% of it. Okay. Let me give you an example. Say suppose my software is 99% defect free, but it does not meet the requirement of the client. Okay, in the images which I showed you some time back, in image, if you have seen the difference between image 1 and image 10, what the image 10 showed that, okay, the customer wanted something else, but he explained something else, and he was given something else, right? So if we are not giving, okay, if we are not giving our end customer what they want, okay, and shipping a product which doesn't make sense for them, and even though if it is 99% defect free, that is not adding value to my end customer, okay. So rather than giving a 99% defect free product which doesn't meet the end requirements of my customer, I should be giving a product, okay, which may have some errors, but okay, it solves the problem of my end user, okay. So absence of error is a fallacy or a myth. There will be, errors even though you have tested thoroughly. But I mean, we cannot live like this, right? We have to find a solution for this, that okay. So the best solution to find out most of the issues, or to release a bug-free product, or at least a bug-free product to a maximum extent, we should start doing testing very early. And we should start doing this right from the requirements, right? So the moment your customer has explained you, okay, his or her requirement, we should test that at that moment only. So you could have given him or her a prototype, a small proof of concept that, okay, is this what you're looking out for? So that is one kind of testing you are doing at the requirement stage only. So had you done that, the customer had gone through, okay, no, this is not what I am looking for, this is not what this is what I am looking out for. You could have given him a product which is required by the customer without much of issues. So we should start doing testing early in the development life cycle, right? And there is another principle which is called testing in context dependent. It is nothing but, so say for example, if you are doing the e-commerce site testing like Flipkart, Amazon, right, versus doing testing of a Microsoft Office, these are two different things, okay. The kind of testing one has to perform in e-commerce site is different than what you will do for an MS Office testing. So to summarize the 7 testing principles, testing shows presence of defects. Exhaustive testing is impossible, okay. So you do risk-based testing, okay. Absence of errors is a myth, okay. So what you do, you start doing early testing, okay. Defect clustering is another thing, which is nothing but you can, by your experience, you can find out that along with a particular module or system, you will find most of your defect. Then there is something called Pesty paradox, which I explained, okay. And then testing is the context dependent. Okay, so this is just to give you overview of testing and the 7 principles of software testing, what kind of problems we face in software development life cycles, and what are the different problems we have during software testing, and how to overcome those kind of testing, okay. Now let me tell you something interesting, which we will talk in detail. Now if you look at this advertisement, this is advertisement given in a paper, can anybody explain me what it tells? Okay, so by if I look at I have a dirty cloth towards my left, and there is a washing machine, and there is a neat and clean cloth at the right hand, right? Now if I put this advertisement, okay, in a country where people read from left to right, it is absolutely fine, no problem with that. Okay, I'm having a dirty cloth, I'm putting in a washing machine, and then I'm getting a clean cloth. But imagine you put the same ad, remove the arrows from here, okay, and you put a same ad, okay. Let me do that here. So I remove these arrows now. Okay. Now, normally, if I'm an Indian, I would read from left to right, right? So I put a dirty cloth in a washing machine, got a clean cloth. Now, if I'm in Arabic countries where people read from right to left, okay. So what message you are giving, that if you are putting a clean cloth into a washing machine, you are getting a dirty cloth, okay. This would be a disaster if you are trying to do a business in those countries of a washing machine, right? So if you don't know the cultural nuances of a country, okay, you will end up, running into losses in your business. So this comes under something called internationalization testing, which is a part of our curriculum where we talk about those things. What are the things which we have to take care while building or creating software application for international markets, like other than the English markets, like Japan, China, Portuguese, Brazil, Spanish, Italian, all those countries, Arabic, right? Now another thing which, let me ask you, okay, if I'll ask you to read 6/5/2009, how do you read this? This is a date, right? So you can say that 6th May 2009, you can read it as, uh, 5th June 2009 also, right? So until you know the format of this particular date, you can read it anywhere, right? So this is also comes under something called internationalization of the product or the application. So if I'm selling a particular software, okay, and there is a date and time format in particular application, the date and time format of that particular country has to be displayed. And just to give you the cultural nuances, I mean how different it is, for example, 6th day of 5th month of year 2000 will appear in different regions like this. So UK, you write like this, 5/6/2009. It says that 6th May, okay, 2009. UK, you write like this. So here the format is US, the format is month is DD YYYY. Here the UK format is different. The Japan format is different. The year comes first, right? Germany, here everywhere you are seeing backslash, here you are seeing dot, right? So all this which I'm talking about is related to internationalization testing. Okay, where whenever we are making softwares for the countries like Germany, Japan, UK, we have to take care of their culture related things, right? You know that the currency symbol in every country is different, right? It's not the same. So if I have an application e-commerce site where I have to display the currency. In India, I should displaying different. In Japan, I should be displaying different currency. UK, you have a dollar symbol. Okay, Japan, you have a yen symbol, and these are all called. It comes under the internationalization testing, which we will touch base upon in our curriculum. Okay. Now, this is what I wanted to cover during this particular presentation. It was just an overview of, and now let me show you what we'll be covering in the exhaustive training which we have put it together. So this is the course, okay. details, which we will be covering. We will talk about, the test management, testing techniques, different types of testing, defect management, testing tools, and we will also have a post-assessment. There is no prerequisites for this particular training. If you know language, then probably you are. If you know a computer, then you should be able to take this course and get benefited from it. And it would be instructor training format. It is an instructor-led training. Okay. The same way, the way I just gave it now, you can have the option to ask me questions. You can have the option to interact with me. Okay. Career opportunities, software testing. I talked about this. You have a huge market. 30 billion market for the software industries, and many companies across the globe are recruiting testing professionals. Amazon Web Services, Intel, Microsoft, Twitter, Salesforce, AT&T, eBay, Yahoo, Facebook. All the companies need software testers to release a good quality software product. So this is the curriculum where we will talk about fundamentals of software testing. What is software testing? How is it different from other types of testing? The psychology of testing. Why does software fails? What are the challenges in testing? Why do we need? Okay, the difference between quality control and quality assurance. The V model of testing. We'll talk about the various terminologies. And then test planning and analysis. In this module, you will learn how to plan and analyze the testing activities. You will learn how to gather requirements, how to create test strategy, test planning, how to estimate for your test, like how much time will it take to perform in the testing. There are also things like, what should we test and what not should be testing, right? You have various kinds of testing like load testing, performance testing. Okay, what are the pass and fail criteria of my testing? So all these things will be taught in this particular module called testing planning and analysis. Then test design. Here we will teach you how to create test scenarios. I talked about some of the test scenarios and test cases. Okay, we'll also talk about creating test data, and how do you create traceability matrix where you map your test cases back to the requirements, right? Then we'll talk about test execution, how to execute your test cases, how to come up with your execution strategy to cover maximum required scenarios. Like, for example, you create a software which can run on the Microsoft Windows disk, and that can also be run, should also be run on the Unix platform, Mac operating system. So these are the various combinations, right? It should support. Similarly, you have multiple browsers, like you have Chrome, you have Internet Explorer, and you have Firefox. All these things are there. So you have to come up with the execution strategy, like which all combination I'm going to pick it. Okay. Then we'll talk about, in module 5, we'll talk about the different testing techniques, the black box and the white box testing techniques. What is equivalence partition? What is boundary value analysis, decision tables, transition diagrams? Okay. Module 7 will touch base upon unit testing, integration testing, performance testing, internationalization and localization testing. Okay, risk-based testings. Defect management will teach you how to, once you execute your test cases, you will find some issues or defects, how to report that defects, what are the things required while reporting a defect, how to write a best defect. Okay, and we'll also talk about severity and priority, the defect life cycle. Okay, what is the priority and severity of a particular defect? Then we'll in module 9 we'll tell you about the various testing tools exist in the market. the various automation tools, defect tracking tools like Jira, ALM, RTC, ClearQuest, okay, ALM, HPLM, or we used to call it Quality Center for test case management and executions. And we'll also touch base upon the metrics and reports, where how to create a test status report, how you create a traceability matrix, how do you monitor your progress. And we'll also talk about automation testing, where we'll teach you the best practices of automation testing, when to automate, what not to automate. And we'll touch base upon introduction to Selenium, which is very prevalent in the market these days. It's an open source technology using which you can automate most of your web-based applications, if not all. And then I also touch base upon the agile methodology. A lot of companies are moving from waterfall methodology to agile methodology. So how it is impacting testing, we'll touch base upon. We'll talk about agile methodology and how are the teams structured in the agile methodology. And another interesting thing which is coming is mobile application testing. You see a lot of companies are coming up with mobile app, right from Flipkart to Facebook to LinkedIn to any consumer applications. Everybody has a mobile app. Okay, so what is mobile application testing? We'll talk about that. What are the challenges in mobile application testing? How do you define your strategy around mobile testing? Okay. And then after this, we'll also give you some, because once you are going through all these trainings, we should provide you some tips and techniques to crack the interviews when you go for interviews to join some companies. I being in the industry for the last 14 years, I can give you some tips upon what kind of questions people will ask you, how to answer that, how to think analytically and give the answers. And we can, if required, we can help you with some kind of mock interview sessions also. Then after we teach you all the stuff, we would have a post assessment where we will test your knowledge, what you have learned. Okay, and I'll also discuss about the certifications in testing, like which are the certification, like ISTQB, which I did is one of the certification. Then there are multiple certifications. If you're going for agile, you have Scrum Masters, Scrum Product Owners, all those things, and we'll touch base upon that. Okay, we have a huge lab infrastructure which is equipped with the latest infrastructure with PowerSec and IBM X series dual Xenon-based servers. And so we have we will also have some lab sessions, and along with the theoretical part which I will be teaching, we will also have some lab sessions where we'll ask you to write some test cases. We'll review those test cases, and we'll ask you to prepare a testing plan. We'll ask you to write a defect. So not only we will teach you about the theoretical part, we'll also give you some hands-on experience. We'll give you some application to test and find defects in that. Okay, so there would be a lot of things, and I think that after going through this particular software testing training, you should be more confident to crack an interview and get a job into the software industry, and be a top performer in any companies. Okay, so I'm done with my questions, so presentations. If you guys have any questions, please do let me know, and you can if you don't want to speak up, you can just put it in the chat window so that I can answer your questions. Thank you. Any questions? Okay, Chandra, I'll check.